Hey everybody, this is Tracy here with another edition of View from Tracy's Point, and we are here to take a more in-depth look into the Tim Norman case. One of my viewers on the last little recap that I did over the weekend by the name of Beauty is Me, she had posed a question to me or a suggestion to me, and it reminded me that on, I believe, my last video, I told you guys that I was going to go and download the documents from my Pacer account, to get more information and come back and read the indictment to you guys. And of course, I got lazy and never did it. And so obviously there are people out there that want to know more. So let me go ahead and give you guys that information. If I go into a choking spell, it's because my daughter was in the kitchen cooking earlier and she did something, but the house, she said she didn't burn the chicken, but the house is very smoky and very smelly and it's messing with my sinuses. So if I just start coughing, I don't have COVID, you guys. I am having trouble breathing in my house right now. We have the windows open, we got the air conditioner on, I got my little portable AC thing blowing on me because it's hot also. And then what was the other thing I was going to share with you guys before I got started? It was something else, but I'll think of it later, probably before I finish this video. So for those of you who didn't see my recap from this weekend, let me go ahead and give you guys an update on what's going on. And this is actually from the Justice Department, justice.gov, and this was a press release that went out on November 12th announcing that a fourth person had been arrested in the Tim Norman case. And for you all who are not familiar with Tim Norman is the son of Robbie Montgomery, who is the owner of the Sweetie Pies franchise in St. Louis, Missouri. And she's also a former backup singer for groups like Ike and Tina Turner. And so they had a show on OWN called Welcome to Sweetie Pies. And there was a grandson of Miss Robbie who was also on the show by the name of Andre Montgomery. And Andre was killed in March of 2016. And now his uncle and Miss Robbie's son, Tim Norman, has been arrested and charged in that murder along with 3 other people that are alleged to have co-conspired with him. From justice.gov, it says grand jury indicts another individual for conspiracy to commit murder for hire and murder for hire scheme. St. Louis, Missouri, Thursday, November 12th, 2020. A federal grand jury returned a superseding indictment against James Timothy Norman, Terica Tanisha Ellis, Wael Rabi Yagman, and Travell Anthony Hill, and he's the fourth person. Norman, Ellis, and Hill are charged with conspiracy to commit murder for hire and murder for hire resulting in the death of Andre Montgomery. Norman and Yagman are charged with conspiracy to commit wire and mail fraud, and Yagman is charged with 5 counts of aggravated theft, all in connection with Montgomery's murder for hire. According to the indictment and other court documents, James Timothy Norman conspired with Terica Ellis, Travell Anthony Hill, and others to use a facility of interstate commerce, namely a cellular telephone, to commit a murder for hire in exchange for United States currency in violation of Title 18, United States Code Section 1958. In 2014, Norman obtained a total of $450,000 in life insurance proceeds on his 20-year-old nephew, Andre Montgomery, on which Norman was the sole beneficiary. In the days leading up to Montgomery's murder, Ellis, an exotic dancer residing in Memphis, Tennessee, communicated with Montgomery and informed him she was planning to be in St. Louis on March 13, 2016, the day before Montgomery's murder. Norman flew to St. Louis, Missouri from his home in Los Angeles, California. On March 14, 2016, Ellis and Norman communicated using temporary phones activated that day. Ellis also used the temporary phone to communicate with Montgomery and learn his physical location for the purpose of luring Montgomery outside. Immediately after learning Montgomery's location, Ellis relayed the address to Norman and Hill. On March 14, 2016, at approximately 8:02 p.m., Montgomery was killed by gunfire at 3964 Natural Bridge Avenue in the city of St. Louis. Ellis's phone location information places her in the vicinity of the murder at time of the homicide. Immediately following Montgomery's murder, Ellis placed a call to Norman and then began traveling to Memphis, Tennessee. In the days after the murder, Ellis deposited over $9,000 in cash into various bank accounts. On March 16, 2016, Hill received a cash payment of $5,000 at the direction of Norman. That same day, Hill engaged in recorded phone conversations with an individual in jail and discussed Montgomery's murder and his payment. On March 18, 2016, Norman contacted the life insurance company in an attempt to collect on the life insurance policy he had obtained on his nephew. And as someone put in the comments on my last video, that it was ironic that everybody got paid but Tim. And all of this was orchestrated so that Tim could collect on these insurance policies. So the indictment alleges prior to Montgomery's murder, Norman conspired with Yogman, his insurance agent, to fraudulently obtain a life insurance policy on Montgomery. Beginning in October of 2014, Norman and Yogman submitted 5 separate life insurance applications, all containing numerous false statements regarding Montgomery's income, net worth, medical history, employment, and family background. In the life insurance policy that ultimately issued, Norman obtained a $200,000 policy as well as a $200,000 accidental death rider that would pay out in the event that Norman died of something other than natural causes, and a $50,000 10-year term rider that would pay out if Montgomery died within 10 years of the policy's issuance in 2014. This murder for hire cold case from 2016 demonstrates once again the power of law enforcement partnership and persistence, said Special Agent in Charge Richard Quinn of the FBI St. Louis Division. By combining resources and expertise, the FBI and St. Louis Metropolitan Police Department overcame numerous challenges to uncover the details of this plot. So that lets you know when they have it in their mind and their heart that they are going to get you on a crime, they will stop at nothing. The arrests of Norman, Ellis, and Hill are part of Operation Legend, which is a federal partnership with local law enforcement to address the increase in homicides and violent crime in St. Louis in 2020. The operation honors the memory of 4-year-old Legend Taliaferro, one of the youngest fatalities during a record-breaking year of homicides and shootings. Additional federal agents were assigned to the operation from the Department of Homeland Security, FBI, Drug Enforcement Administration, the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, and the United States Marshal Service. The St. Louis Metropolitan Police Department Homicide Section and Federal Bureau of Investigations are investigating those current charges. If convicted of the conspiracy to commit murder for hire or murder for hire resulting in death, the penalty is life imprisonment or death and a fine of $250,000. conspiracy to commit wire and mail fraud carries maximum penalties of 20 years in prison and a fine of $250,000. Aggravated identity theft carries a minimum sentence of imprisonment of 2 years. In determining the actual sentence, a judge is required to consider the U.S. sentencing guidelines, which provide recommended sentencing ranges. As is always the case, the charge in an indictment is merely an accusation, and the defendants are presumed innocent unless and until proven guilty. So I've been covering the R. Kelly case, if you're not familiar with my channel. And so Pacer is basically a government website that allows you to download for a fee documents pertaining to a case. Now with the R. Kelly case, I can pretty much download anything out there. Like whatever they put out there, I can download it. But with this case, there were multiple documents, a long list of documents to choose from, and it wasn't allowing me to it wasn't granting me permission at my level of account to access many of these documents. And so one of the documents that I tried to open up was for the death penalty and assigning of an attorney. And so I stated in one of my previous videos that anytime you're facing federal charges and a death has occurred, that you could be charged, you know, the maximum penalty could be the death penalty, but it has to go through like a committee to decide if, you know, the charges are worthy of that punishment or not. And so I'm not sure what that whole document was about. I know that it automatically happens. And so we know that it is being reviewed in Washington for that penalty. And I was trying to figure out, because it said assignment of attorney, if the assignment of attorney was a federal attorney to review the case, or if it was assigning a federal attorney, because I believe that all of them have government attorneys defending their cases. So I don't know how to feel about that. I mean, I'm not for the death penalty. I'm also not for killing people, innocent people that haven't done anything to you either. So I know a lot of people commented in a previous video that he should get the death penalty, that all of them should get the death penalty. I'm not in that group simply because I don't believe in the death penalty. Let's go ahead. I was able to look at the superseding indictment. And basically, the superseding indictment is pretty much the original indictment, but they're adding on extra information that they found out about the case in order to pursue other charges. And so I didn't go through the trouble of downloading all the previous indictments, because all the information should be in this particular indictment. Okay, so this is the United States versus James Timothy Norman, Terica Tanisha Ellis, Wael Rebe, and I'm probably saying his name wrong, Yagman, and Travell Anthony Hill as defendants. The grand jury charges that, and then it gives the introduction, and it points out that at all times relevant in the indictment, Andre Montgomery was born on October 14, 1994. Andre Montgomery's paternal uncle was James Timothy Norman. Andre Montgomery's father, the brother of James Timothy Norman, died in Los Angeles, California in 1994. Andre Montgomery's Missouri non-driver license indicated that his height was 5'11" and his weight was 185 pounds. At no point did Andre Montgomery ever seek or obtain medical treatment at the People's Health Center. So I'm sure all of that is going to have some form of relevancy as we get into this indictment. In August of 2014, Andre Montgomery completed a housing application in which he indicated he was employed at a shop called Tobacco Road, that his hourly wage was $7.25, and that in the month of July of 2014, he had earned $696.47. Count 1 in the indictment, murder for hire conspiracy, 18 U.S.C. 1958, beginning at a time unknown in the grand jury, but up to and including March 14, 2016, and through the date of the superseding indictment within the Eastern District of Missouri and elsewhere, James Timothy Norman, Terica Tanisha Ellis, and Travell Anthony Hill, together with other persons known and unknown to the grand jury, did knowingly and intentionally combine, conspire, and agree to commit an offense against the United States of America, to wit, the crime of murder for hire in violation of Title 18, United States Code, Section 1958, by using and causing others to use facilities of interstate commerce, to wit, cellular telephones, with the intent that the murder of Andre Montgomery be committed in violation of the laws of the state of Missouri, as consideration of the receipt of and as consideration for a promise and agreement to pay things of pecuniary value, namely money, along with other benefits. Said conspiracy offense resulted in the death of Andre Montgomery on March 14, 2016. Object and purpose. The objects and purposes of this conspiracy were the murder of Andre Montgomery, the nephew of James Timothy Norman, and the obtaining of money as a result and in exchange for the commission of Andre Montgomery's murder. Means and method. The means and methods by which the conspiracy was sought to be accomplished including, among other things, the following. It was part of the conspiracy that on or about October 14, 2014, James Timothy Norman attempted to obtain a $250,000 life insurance policy on his 20-year-old nephew, Andre Montgomery, for which James Timothy Norman was the sole beneficiary through Americo Financial Life and Annuity Insurance Company. This application was later withdrawn. B, it was further part of the conspiracy that on or about October 31st, 2014, James Timothy Norman attempted to obtain a second life insurance policy on Andre Montgomery in the amount of $200,000, in addition to an accidental death rider in the amount of $200,000 and a 10-year term rider in the amount of $50,000 through the independent order of foresters, hereinafter Forester's policy. James Timothy Norman was the sole beneficiary on this policy, and this is the only policy that issued. C, it was further part of the conspiracy that on or about March 16, 2015, James Timothy Norman attempted to obtain a replacement policy on Andre Montgomery through Royal Neighbors of America in the amount of $249,999, but the application was denied. Tim was all over the place, just he was doing way too much, and it obviously caught up with him. But let's continue on with these other policies he was trying to collect on. So D, it was further part of the conspiracy that on or about September 18, 2015, James Timothy Norman attempted to obtain an additional life insurance policy on Andre Montgomery through United of Omaha Life Insurance Company in the amount of $300,000, but the application was denied. But that didn't stop Tim. E, it was further part of the conspiracy that on or about September 24, 2015, James Timothy Norman attempted to obtain an additional life insurance policy on Andre Montgomery through the Capital Life Insurance Company, doing business as Liberty Bankers Life, in the amount of $250,000. But guess what, y'all? The application was denied. Okay? So then F, it was further part of the conspiracy that the applications for all 5 of these life insurance applications on Andre Montgomery obtained materially false information, including false statements regarding Andre Montgomery's income, occupation, health history, and family history. G, it was further part of the conspiracy that James Timothy Norman flew from Los Angeles, California to St. Louis, Missouri, and arrived in St. Louis, Missouri on March 14, 2016. H, it was further part of the conspiracy that on or about March 14, 2016, James Timothy Norman and Terica Tanisha Ellis purchased prepaid TricPhone cellular devices at a Walgreens located in the Central West End neighborhood of the city of St. Louis. And let's put a pin there. If you are attempting to commit a crime, we're no longer in the days of the wire, okay? We're no longer in the 80s and 90s where these burner phones cannot be traced, okay? They can trace these phones, all right? I purchased was it a TricPhone? I purchased a phone from Walmart, and it was just an extra phone, so I didn't have to give out my personal phone number. Like when they're asking you to verify stuff, I was just going to have this extra phone, pay the $15 a month, and whenever somebody needed to send a code or verify something, I would give them that information. But we had to go through so much as far as entering my personal information, entering, credit card information and all this stuff. It just really wasn't worth the burden of activating the phone if I still, got to give out all this information. So those phones can be tracked, okay? And it was a flip phone, and I think it was still able to be tracked. So moving right along, it was further part of the conspiracy that James Timothy Norman and Terica Tanisha Ellis communicated with one another for the duration of March 14, 2016, using the newly purchased prepaid cellular devices. J, it was further part of the conspiracy that Terica Tanisha Ellis advised Andre Montgomery to initiate all further communication with her on March 14, 2016, using her newly purchased prepaid cellular device. K, it was further part of the conspiracy that Terica Tanisha Ellis communicated with Andre Montgomery throughout the day on March 14, 2016 for the purpose of determining his whereabouts. L, it was further part of the conspiracy that Terica Tanisha Ellis used her prepaid cellular device to communicate Andre Montgomery's locations to James Timothy Norman, Travell Anthony Hill, and or other conspirators throughout the day on March 14, 2016. And then M, it was further part of the conspiracy that at approximately 7:07 p.m. Central Standard Time on March 14, 2016, Andre Montgomery texted the location 3964 Natural Bridge to Terica Tanisha Ellis on her newly purchased prepaid cellular device. It was further part of the conspiracy that immediately upon learning Andre Montgomery's location, Terica Tanisha Ellis relayed the address to James Timothy Norman and Travell Anthony Hill and or other conspirators. O, it was further part of the conspiracy that in the 22 minutes after learning Andre Montgomery's location at 3964 Natural Bridge Avenue, Terica Tanisha Ellis attempted to call, or sent text messages to Travell Anthony Hill at least 5 times using her newly purchased prepaid cellular device. It was further part of the conspiracy that Terica Tanisha Ellis met Andre Montgomery at 3964 Natural Bridge Avenue in the city of St. Louis at approximately 8:00 p.m. Central Standard Time on March 14, 2016 for the purpose of luring Andre Montgomery outside of the residence. Q, it was further part of the conspiracy that Andre Montgomery was shot and killed in front of the residence at 3964 Natural Bridge Avenue at approximately 8:02 p.m. Central Standard Time. R, it was further part of the conspiracy that at 8:03 p.m. Central Standard Time, Terica Tanisha Ellis called James Timothy Norman on his newly purchased prepaid cellular device, then immediately began driving back to her home in Memphis, Tennessee. S. It was further part of the conspiracy that approximately 5.5 hours after the homicide in the early morning hours of March 15, 2016, James Timothy Norman flew back to Los Angeles, California. T. It was further part of the conspiracy that on March 15, 2016, James Timothy Norman and Terica Tanisha Ellis ceased all use of their prepaid cellular devices. It was further part of the conspiracy that between March 15, 2016 and March 17, 2016, Terica Tanisha Ellis deposited over $9,000 in cash into multiple bank accounts in Memphis, Tennessee. Okay, don't use prepaid phones, okay? And the other thing I didn't mention about the prepaid phones is that you have to enter like an email address, which is easily tracked through Google. And part of the research that I've done on the R. Kelly case is that, well, not involving R. Kelly himself, but you guys know there were 3 other people that have since been arrested as the Eastern District of New York tried to build this enterprise that they claimed that he was running. And so what we learned from those 3 arrests is that basically if the federal government doesn't have enough information to get a warrant to search, to put a tracer on your online activity, what they do is they come up with these keywords. So in this case, it might have been the address to 3964 Natural Bridge Avenue. And so they'll put that in and tell Google, okay, we need to find out on March 14th, between March 14th and March 17th, all the searches for this address. And I'm just using this as an example. And then Google comes back and tell them everybody who has used Google to search that address, and then they go through the list, and then if the people that they're trying to connect to a crime are listed on that list that Google provided them, that's what gives them the information that they need to present to a judge in order to get a search warrant for all your online history. I'm telling you, child, you just can't escape the government at this point in time. And then for Terica to deposit that money into her bank account, child, if you're just doing dirt, doing wrong, just don't deposit the money into the bank account. Just keep the money in a box buried in your backyard and just go out there and get the money whenever you need it. So moving on, V, it was further part of the conspiracy that on March 16, 2016, Travell Anthony Hill conversed with his brother, Tony Whitfield, via recorded jail calls to discuss Andre Montgomery's murder and Travell Anthony Hill's payment. Dumb criminals, dumb criminals, dumb criminals, because we know that jail phone calls are recorded. Like how stupid, okay? So anyway, W, it was further part of the conspiracy that on March 16, 2016, Travell Anthony Hill accepted a $5,000 cash payment at the direction of James Timothy Norman. X, it was further part of the conspiracy that on March 18, 2016, Wael Rabi Yagman and James Timothy Norman contacted the Independent Order of Foresters for the purpose of inquiring as to how to collect on the aforementioned foresters policy. Y, it was further part of the conspiracy that James Timothy Norman continued to contact the Independent Order of Foresters on March 21st, 2016, August 1st, 2016, August 15th, 2016, August 26th, 2016, and November 18th, 2016, for the purpose of attempting to collect on the aforementioned foresters policy. Z, it was further part of the conspiracy that in September 2018, James Timothy Norman retained counsel who sent a letter to the Independent Order of Foresters demanding that they pay on the aforementioned foresters policy. AA, it was further part of the conspiracy that in October 2018, James Timothy Norman submitted an affidavit to the Independent Order of Foresters for the purpose of collecting on the aforementioned policy in violation of Title 18 United States Code, Section 1958. And let me say, this is not a paid promotion from Dunkin' Donuts. I just happened to go to Dunkin' Donuts before I started this video. And because my house is all smoky and my throat is starting to bother me, I am drinking it online. But I am not being paid by Dunkin' Donuts to hold this cup up before you guys. So count 2, murder for hire, 18 USC 1958 and 2. The grand jury further charges that on or about March 14, 2016, in the city of St. Louis, within the Eastern District of Missouri, James Timothy Norman, Terica Tanisha Ellis, and Travell Anthony Hill, the defendants herein aiding and abetting one another and or others, used and caused others to use facilities of interstate commerce, to wit, cellular telephones, with the intent that the murder of Andre Montgomery be committed in violation of the laws of the United States, laws of the state of Missouri, as consideration for the receipt of and as consideration for a promise and agreement to pay things of pecuniary value, namely money, along with other benefits. Said offense resulted in the death of Andre Montgomery on March 14, 2016, in violation of Title 18 United States Code, Sections 1958 and 2. And if you guys watched Welcome to Sweetie Pies, you know there was a whole segment of the show that was dedicated to the death of Andre. They did like a memorial service. It was just like a lot going on, and just witnessing the family mourn his death. And now it has us wondering if they knew that Tim was involved. Was there ever a suspicion of what was going on? And I stated in one of my other videos how Charles, thinking back on it, Charles seemed so stressed out during those episodes. And you could tell that he actually talked about going through a period of depression after Andre's death. And so it makes you wonder if everybody knew that Tim was a part of this, or Tim had something to do with it. And if that, added to the mourning that they had to go through in dealing with Andre's passing. And, as several people have pointed out in the comments of previous videos, how it seems like the mother, Andre's mother, has just been excluded from this whole process. She was excluded from what they tried to do on the show. I don't think she ever appeared on Welcome to Sweetie Pies, even after his passing. And just what is she feeling right now? Is she just angry at Tim? Is she angry with everybody, wondering if they knew? What did they know? Why did it take so long, for arrest to be made in her son's passing? So let's go ahead and continue. Count 3, wire and mail fraud conspiracy, 18 USC 1349. Number 10, the allegations contained in paragraphs 1 through 6 are realleged and incorporated herein. Number 11, beginning in or about October of 2014 and continuing until at least as late as September of 2019, in the Eastern District of Missouri and elsewhere, James Timothy Norman and Wael Rabi Yagman the defendants herein, did voluntarily and intentionally combine, conspire, confederate and agree with each other and others known and unknown to the grand jury to commit the following offense against the United States. A, having devised and intended to devise a scheme to obtain money and property by means of materially false and fraudulent pretenses and representations, and for the purpose of executing such scheme and attempting to do so, did knowingly cause and attempt to cause to be transmitted by means of wire communication in interstate commerce, writings, signs, and signals in the form of interstate and international telephone calls, all in violation of Title 18 United States Code, Section 1343. B, having devised and intended to devise a scheme to obtain money and property by means of materially false and fraudulent pretenses and representations, and for the purpose of executing such scheme and attempting to do so, did knowingly cause and attempt to cause documents to be sent or delivered by any private or commercial interstate carrier, or knowingly caused to be delivered by mail or such carrier according to the direction thereon, in the violation of Title 18 United States Code Section 1341, all in violation of Title 18 United States Code Section 1349. Manner and means. 12, in furtherance of the conspiracy and to effect and the legal objects thereof, defendants James Timothy Norman and Wael Rabbi Yagman and others known and unknown to the grand jury used the following ways, manners, and means, among others, to commit wire fraud and mail fraud. 13, the primary purpose of the conspiracy was for James Timothy Norman, aided and abetted by Wael Rabbi Yagman, to obtain and to be able to collect on a life insurance policy on his nephew, Andre Montgomery, in the event of Andre Montgomery's death, by means of false and fraudulent representations regarding Montgomery's income, employment, net worth, medical history, family history, and the existence of other pending, issued, or denied life insurance applications. Americo life insurance application. 14, on or about October 14, 2014, James Timothy Norman and Wael Rabbi Yagman caused to be completed and then submitted an application to Americo Financial Life and Annuity Insurance Company, herein called Americo, by which application James Timothy Norman sought a life insurance policy in the amount of $250,000 on his nephew Andre Montgomery. 15, on the Americo application, James Timothy Norman and Wael Rabbi Yagman listed Andre Montgomery's correct name, social security number, and date of birth. 16, the contact phone number listed for Andre Montgomery by James Timothy Norman and Wael Rabbi Yagman on the Americo application was 314-824-8970, a phone number in which James Timothy Norman had been the sole subscriber, oh my God, since 2011. So you had sense enough to go get burner phones to communicate, to commit the crime, but you didn't have sense enough to go out there and get a fake phone to put on this application. Okay. 17, on or about October 14, 2014, James Timothy Norman signed the following attestation passage in the Americo life insurance application. Any person who knowingly presents a false or fraudulent claim for payment of a loss or benefit, or knowingly presents false information in an application for insurance, is guilty of a crime and may be subject to fines and confinement in prison. We have read this application and represent to Americo that the statements made on this application are true, complete, and correctly recorded to the best of my knowledge and belief. We agree that Americo can rely on these statements. 18, on or about October 14, 2014, Wael Rabbi Yagnan signed the following attestation passage in James Timothy Norman's Americo life insurance application, stating as follows: I hereby certify that I was personally asked each question. I hereby certify that I have personally asked each question on this application to the proposed insured, that I have truly and accurately recorded on the application the information supplied by him, her, and that I have no reason to believe that any of the information provided is inaccurate or incomplete. If not, I have set forth my reservations in the agent comments remarks section above. 19. James Timothy Norman and Wael Rabbi Yagnan indicated in the Americo life insurance application that James Timothy Norman would be the sole beneficiary on the policy in the event of Andre Montgomery's death. 20. James Timothy Norman and Wael Rabbi Yagnan represented in the Americo life insurance application that James Timothy Norman would pay the monthly premium of $156.04 from his U.S. bank account, and then it dots out the first few numbers ending in 7746. 21. James Timothy Norman and Wael Rabbi Yagnan represented that Andre Montgomery was not under the care of a physician. 22. They falsely represented in the Americo life insurance application that Andre Montgomery had an annual income of $100,000. Wow. 23. They falsely represented in the Americo life insurance application that Andre Montgomery's height was 5'7", and that his weight was 165 pounds. And so this is where all that information, when I first started reading the document, it was in the introduction. So they're showing how they contradicted, because they're saying that Andre earned $100,000 a year, but then they have documents from Andre saying that he was only making $8.25 an hour and had only made $696 and some cents. And don't quote me on that exact number, it was $600 and some for the year. And then number 24, it says on October 7, 2014, James Timothy Norman and Wael Rabbi Yagnan exchanged text messages regarding the submission of the life insurance application as follows. So y'all be out here doing text messages and deleting the messages, and these people can still get the messages. And I actually have a friend that he'll text, and actually I was working for him, and he would text me stuff about a client, you know, can you look this up? Can you make an invoice? Can you do this? Can you do that? And then he would call back, you know, later on in the day after he spoke with the client, and he'll be like, how much did I tell you to charge them? And I'm like, you text me. Why are you calling me, asking me? And so I later found out, I don't know if he has like an auto delete on his phone or if he just deletes everything at the phone. And so I had to keep, you know, accurate records of what he was telling me. And like, I never delete my text messages. I think after you get like 100 messages from one person, it'll start deleting for that person, but everybody else, you know, until they reach 100 texts, it stays in my phone. And so I need to let him know that, you know, whatever you trying to hide, that you keep deleting all this information, to do people investigate you, they have a way of pulling that information up. So let's go ahead and read the text message. So Norman, I got him with me. What information do you need so when we link, we can just sign papers, then be done? Norman again, don't want to talk about it in front of him. And then Yagnan says, okay, well, just answer the phone. And then Norman replied, he's with me. And then Yagnan said, I know, watch how I do it. So I was trying to help Yagnan out in my previous videos, but I think he knew what was going on at this point. So number 25, between October 16, 2014 and November 3rd, 2014, representatives of Americo repeatedly attempted to contact Andre Montgomery by means of James Timothy Norman's phone number, which appeared as Andre Montgomery's phone number on the life insurance application. 26. Representatives of Americo also attempted to contact Wael Rabi Yagman via email and telephone with questions regarding the life insurance application, including the reasons that Andre Montgomery could not own the life insurance policy rather than James Timothy Norman. And these were some of the points that I brought up in previous videos, and folks was in the comments trying to argue with me about how easy it is to get these life insurance policies. So number 27, on Friday, October 31st, 2014, James Timothy Norman and Wael Rabi Yagnan exchanged the following text messages. Norman, policy with the question mark. Yagnan, you should have by next Friday. They'll call you on Monday. Act like you're Andre. Norman, okay. Norman again. I ain't seen this nigga in over a week, bro. So, Yagman, I'm throwing you on the bus with the rest of them, okay? So then, number 28, the following Monday, November 3rd, 2014, James Timothy Norman and Wael Rabi Yagman exchanged the following text messages. Yagman, what's up? They're gonna call you. I need to talk to you first. Norman, I didn't get email with info. Yagnan, did they call you? Question mark. Norman, yeah, I missed it. Norman, they left call back in info. They left call back info. Yagnan, call them back ASAP. Norman, I need the info. Norman, B-Day, SOC, etc. Yagnan, I just sent it. Norman, okay. Approximately 20 minutes later, on November 3rd, 2014, Tim and Wagman, I'm going to just cut this a little short, and Yagnan exchanged the following text messages. Norman, all good. Yagnan, cool. 29, on or about 18/2014, Tim had obtained a life insurance policy from a separate insurance company, and he and Yagnan caused the Americo life insurance application to be withdrawn, which was still pending at the time. Forrester's life insurance application. Number 30. On or about October 31st, 2014, James Timothy Norman and Wael Rabi Yagman caused to be completed and then submitted an application to the Independent Order of Foresters, hereinafter will be referred to as Foresters, by which application Tim saw the life insurance policy in the amount of $200,000, as well as an accidental death rider in the amount of $200,000 and a 10-year term rider of $50,000 on his nephew, Andre Montgomery. 31, the $200,000 accidental death rider would pay out in the event that Andre Montgomery died or something other than natural causes. 32, the $50,000 10-year term rider would pay out in the event that Andre Montgomery died within 10 years of the policy's issuance. 33, on the Foresters application, Tim and Yagnan identified Andre Montgomery's correct name, social security number, driver's license number, and date of birth. All information that, Tim could have easily gotten off his application or paperwork, since he was a manager at Welcome to Sweetie Pies. 34, on or about October 31st, 2014, James Timothy Norman signed the following attestation passage in the Foresters life insurance application. I, as evidenced by my signature in this application, declare that 1, I have reviewed this application. 2, I was asked every question that applies to me and provided the answers shown in this application to these questions. 3, the statements, answers, and representations contained in this application are full, complete, and true to the best of my knowledge and belief. 35, on or about October 31st, 2014, Yagman signed the following attestation passage in Tim's Forrester's life insurance application, stating as follows: unless specifically stated otherwise in the producer report, I certify each of the following. A, I am not aware of undisclosed information about the health, habits, or lifestyles of the proposed insured or a child identified in this application that might affect insurability. B, I personally met with the proposed insured owner and each child and reviewed the documents used to verify identity and birth date. 3, I asked the proposed insured, the parent legal guardian, if the proposed insured is a juvenile and or the owner. Each question as written in this application to which an answer is shown and recorded, the answers as given to me by each person. D, this application was reviewed by each person signing in the signature section before it was signed by that person. (36) Tim and Yagman indicated in the Forrester's life application that Tim would be the sole beneficiary and the policy in the event of Andre's death. Tim and Yagman represented in the Forrester's life insurance application that Tim would pay the monthly premium of $185.16 with his U.S. bank account ending in 7746. So, child, not only did Tim not collect, now he done went from $156 a month policy to $185 a month policy. 38. On or about October 31st, 2014, Tim and Yagman represented in the Forrester's life insurance application that Andre Montgomery had an annual income of $28,000, despite having represented on October 14th, 2014, that Andre had an annual income of $100,000 in the Americo life insurance application. 39. Tim and Yagman falsely represented in the Forrester's life insurance application that Andre had a net worth of $200,000. 40. Tim and Yagman falsely represented in the Forrester's life insurance application that Andre Montgomery's height was 5'7" and that his weight was 165 pounds. 41. Tim falsely indicated in the Forrester's life insurance application that his relationship to Andre was both as his uncle and as his employer, when in fact Tim had no employment relationship with Andre. 42. Tim falsely indicated in the Forrester's life insurance application that Andre's father was living, 42 years old and healthy, when in fact Andre's father, the brother of Tim, had died in 1994. And some of y'all had asked me before, and I even mentioned it in a prior video, Tim's brother, who was killed in 1994 in Los Angeles, got into a street fight with these two brothers, and the two brothers, they beat him. I think one had a bat and then the other one stabbed him with a knife, and that is how he passed away. And I know several people were thinking that Tim had something to do with the brother being killed, but there's no indication that there was any connection. And actually, when the brother was killed, Tim might have been serving time in prison, because he did some time in prison when he was like 17 years old. So moving on. So number 43, Tim and Yagman falsely represented in the Forrester's life insurance application that Andre had received a regular checkup from the attending physician at the People's Health Clinic in December of 2013. Because I keep referring back to the comments, because I do read the comments on the video. I like to engage with people when they're making the comments on my videos. So there was someone in one of the videos that was like, you can get a life insurance policy, without having to do a physical, because I was saying when I got my life insurance policy, like they did a background check, They came to my house. They sent a nurse practitioner to my house to do a physical, to draw blood, to run all different kind of tests, okay, before I could get that policy. And so when the person had posted that, you know, and everybody was agreeing with them, I called my brother-in-law, who's an insurance agent, and I asked him, I was like, can you get, you know, an insurance policy without doing a physical? And so he said, yeah, you can. He says, but one is not going to have a high value on it. You know, so if you were trying to get like $1 million policy, you're going to have to do a physical. And he said that, you know, those policies usually have a lower value. They have a higher premium. And then he said, but now in the age of technology, you might not have to get a physical, but they will ask for your doctor's information. And then using, you know, the healthcare information piece where they can just go online, like these insurance carriers could have access to your health records, and or they can call your physician or call whatever clinic or wherever you go to get your physicals and medical attention, and they can get a report from them without you having to do an actual physical. And that they may not tell you that, or it's in the fine print that that's what they're going to do, but somehow they're going to find out about your health history before they issue that policy. So let's go on to number 44. It says that Tim and Yagman falsely represented in the Forester's life insurance application that there was no other life insurance application pending for the proposed insurer for Forester's or another insurer, when in fact the Americo life insurance application submitted by them was still pending. Then we go to number 45. On November 6, 2014, Forester's issued a life insurance policy on Andre with a face amount of $200,000 and accidental death rider of $200,000 and a 10-year term insurance rider for $50,000. Tim was the policy owner and sole beneficiary. So Royal Neighbors life insurance application. Number 46. On March 16, 2015, Tim and Yagman exchanged the following text messages. Yagman, I just contracted with this other company. I can get better cash value on Andre's policies and more coverage. And more coverage is in all caps for what you're paying. You want me to transfer it. Yagman again, instead of $200,000, it will be $300,000. Norman, will he have to re-sign shit? Norman, re-sign. Yagman, nah, I can transfer. Norman, okay, cause he wilding out here. Yagman, I got you. Norman, ain't even see this nigga. 47. On March 16, 2015, Tim and Yagman caused to be completed an application to Royal Neighbors of America, herein after Royal Neighbors, by which application Tim sought a life insurance policy in the amount of $249,999, as well as an accidental death rider in the amount of $249,999 on his nephew Andre Montgomery. 48. The $249,999 accidental death rider would pay out in the event that Andre died of something other than natural causes. 49. Policies with a face amount or rider amount under $250,000 did not require the insured to have a physical examination in connection with the policy application. Say, trying to be slick, write the policy for $1 less than the $250,000. 50. On the Royal Neighbors application, James Timothy Norman and Yagman identified Andre Montgomery's correct name, driver's license number, social security number, and date of birth. 51. The signature of Tim appears on the Royal Neighbors application, acknowledging that any person who knowingly presents a false statement in an application for insurance may be guilty of a criminal offense and subject to penalties under state law. 52. On or about March 16, 2015, Wael Rabbi Yagnan signed an attestation in the Royal Navy's life insurance application indicating that he had personally reviewed the ID of the proposed insured, Andre Montgomery. 53. Tim and Yagnan indicated in the Royal Navy's life insurance application that Tim would be the sole beneficiary on the policy in the event of Andre Montgomery's death, which is what he did on the prior applications. He agreed to pay the premium, which is $187.06, which is what, $2 more than the previous policy, from his U.S. bank account ending in 7746. On March 16, 2015, Tim and Yagnan presented to the Royal Navy's life insurance application that Andre Montgomery had an annual income of $50,000, despite having represented to the Americo life insurance application on October 14, 2014, that Andre Montgomery had an annual income of $100,000, and in the Forester's life insurance application on October 31st, 2014, that Andre Montgomery had an annual income of $28,000. Tim and Yagnan falsely represented in the Royal Navy's life insurance application that Andre Montgomery had a net worth of $200,000. 57. Tim and Yagnan falsely indicated in the Royal Navy's life insurance application that his relationship to Andre Montgomery was both as his uncle and as his employer, when in fact Tim had no employment relationship with Andre Montgomery. 58. Tim and Yagnan falsely represented that Andre had received an annual checkup from the attending physician at the People's Choice Centers in September of 2014, despite the fact that Andre had never been seen or treated at the clinic. On March 17, 2015, Yagnan transmitted the life insurance application to Royal Navy's via facsimile. 60. On March 17, 2015, Tim and Yagnan exchanged the following text messages. Norman, how long is that change process going to take? Yagnan, a week. Yagnan, I took care of everything. Norman, I want to sign papers while I'm in town if I have to. Norman, okay. Norman, you need another check? Yagnan, it's going to be $250,000. Otherwise, he would have had to take a physical for more than that. Norman, okay. Yagnan, if I do need a check, you can just take a picture of a voided check, just as long as the account numbers are legible, and just text it to me. Norman, double or accidental? Norman, okay. Yagnan, of course. So it would be $500,000 in case of an accident. Norman, okay. 61. April 8, 2015, Tim and Yagnan exchanged the following text messages. Yagnan, I am going to keep Andre with Forester's for now. Norman, can't do the change? Norman, your call. He says you are, but I'm thinking he's trying to say your. Yagnan, they need his doctor's info. Norman, yeah, leave that shit alone. Norman, doesn't have one, and I ain't seen the little dude in weeks. Yagnan, right. 62. The Royal Navy's policy ultimately did not issue. Then we go to United of Omaha life insurance application. 63. On September 18, 2015, Tim and Yagnan caused to be completed and submitted an application to United Omaha Life Insurance Company, hereinafter will be referred to as Omaha, by which applicant Tim sought a life insurance policy in the amount of $300,000, as well as an accidental death rider in the amount of $100,000 on his nephew Andre Montgomery. 64. The $100,000 accidental death rider would pay out in the event that Andre died of something other than natural causes. 65, in the Omaha application, Tim and Yagman identified Andre's correct name, social security number, driver's license, and date of birth as they had in the previous applications. 66, on or about September 18, 2015, Tim authorized his electronic signature next to an attestation indicating that, quote, I represent the information above is true and complete. Any person who knowingly represents a false statement in an application for insurance may be guilty of criminal offense and subject to penalties under state law. 67, Tim and Yagman indicated in the Omaha life insurance application that Tim would be the sole beneficiary on the policy in the event of Andre's death. 68, Tim and Yagman indicated in the Omaha life insurance application that Tim would pay the premium of $141.36 from his bank account ending in 7746. So this was a much cheaper policy than the other ones. 69, Tim and Yagman falsely represented to the Omaha life insurance application that Andre's height was 5'7" and he weighed 165 pounds. That seems to be the only thing that they have been consistent about on any of these applications. So 70, Tim and Yagman falsely represented in the Omaha life insurance application that Andre had an annual income of $65,000. Like, why do they keep changing the annual income amount? And then I wonder, and I should have asked my brother-in-law this, is there a database for insurance companies where they can find out if people are submitting applications for multiple policies and what information they're entering on those applications to see if there's consistency or to see if they are changing information? So I'm going to call and ask him that. Let's see. So 671, Tim and Yagman falsely represented in the Omaha life insurance application that Andre had not used any form of tobacco in the past 12 months. 72, on or about September 18, 2015, Tim and Yagman falsely represented in the Omaha life insurance application that there was no other life insurance application pending or in force for the proposed insured, when in fact the forcer's insurance policy was in force at the time Tim and Yagman submitted the Omaha life insurance application. 73, on September 18, 2015, Yagman sent Tim the following text message. Yagman, I changed Andre's insurance to Mutual of Omaha in case they tried to call you. I've been trying to get in contact with you. Your premium went from $189 to $141. You're welcome. And if you wanted to make the benefit over $1 million, I could have made it happen for $300 a month. Call me, man. 74, on or about September 18, 2015, Yagman submitted electronically the Omaha life insurance application. 75, the Omaha policy ultimately did not issue. Capital Life Liberty Insurance Company application. 76, on or about September 24, 2015, Tim and Yagman caused to be completed an application to the Capital Insurance Company doing business as Liberty Bankers Life, hereinafter referred to as Liberty, by which application Tim sought a life insurance policy in the amount of $250,000 as well as an accidental death and dismemberment rider in the amount of $250,000 on his nephew Andre. 77, the $250,000 accidental death rider would pay out in the event that Andre died of something other than natural causes. In the Liberty application, Tim and Yagman identified Andre's correct name, social security number, driver's license, and date of birth. 79, they indicated that Tim would be the sole beneficiary. 80, they indicated that Liberty Life Insurance application that Tim would pay the monthly premium. Now we up to $183.50 from the bank account 7746. 81, they falsely represented in the Liberty Life Insurance application that Andre had an annual income of $100,000. Then 82, they falsely represented in the Liberty Life Insurance application that Andre had a net worth of $200,000. 83, they falsely represented to the Liberty Life Insurance application, that Andre was 5'7" and weighed 165. 84, they falsely represented in the Liberty Life Insurance application that Andre had received a physical from the attending physician at Barnes Jewish Hospital in August 2014. 85, on September 22nd, 2015, Yagman and Tim exchanged the following text messages. Yagnan, yo, we need to do that interview today and another one with Liberty. Yagnan, please give me 15 minutes to get this done. Yagnan, bro, I thought you said you were going to do the interview with me. Norman, or Tim, hey, can you text me the info I need? Tim again, the birthday, social number, whatever I need to answer the questions. Yagnan, yeah, but I want to prep you because it's two companies. If you give me 15 minutes, I promise it'll be done. I'm going to text you everything. Tim, okay, I can't talk because And then Norman, okay, I can't talk because I with these suit and tie MFers. So maybe he was trying on some suits or he was in a business meeting or something. I don't know. Do you guys think that the reason they got caught was because they were submitting all these applications and providing all this wrong information? So 86, on September 23rd, 2015, Yagnan and Tim exchanged the following text messages. Yagnan, Andre Montgomery, social security number ending in 8196, date of birth 10/14/1994. The last time you went to the doctor was in October 2014 for a physical at Barnes Jewish Hospital. Call Mutual of Omaha at 800-775-3000 to do the interview, man. Yagnan, we may have to make Andre the owner of the policy and then I'll switch names in 6 months. They don't let you do the owner off top. Norman, no. Norman, that ain't gonna work. Norman, don't switch owner, leave it alone then. Yagnan, he don't have to know. Yagnan again, okay? Norman, he might not make it 6 months though. Norman, not kidding. Yagnan, damn. Yagnan, you'll still be the beneficiary. Yagnan, just not the owner. Yagnan, so if he makes it 30 years, you'll get all your money back. Norman, oh, okay, gotcha. Yagnan, but if he dies before, you'll get the benefit. Yagnan, you thought I meant beneficiary instead of owner. Norman, yeah. Norman, don't speak the lingo. Yagnan, you can still be the beneficiary on all the policies. Just make the call right quick. Ooh, child. Let me go find out anybody got any life insurance policies on me other than me because this is crazy. So 87, on September 24th, 2015, Yagnan transmitted the life insurance application to Liberty via facsimile. 88, on September 28, 2015, Yagnan and Tim exchanged the following text messages. Yagnan, what's up, man? This is Wally. If you can do me a huge favor and get these interviews done today, I would really appreciate it. I'll win a trip if you do. We can do it on a 3-way call and knock it out. And if you let me handle all your employees, we can talk about kickbacks. I know you're busy. Norman, man, I'm worried about that thing, bro. Norman, I don't want to be recorded on that call. Shit has changed. Yagnan, oh, okay. Norman, he ain't gonna be around much longer. Wow. So that was September 2015, and Andre died in March of 2016. So what, 6-7 months later. And although it's not mentioned in the indictment, all of this surrounding the actual death of Andre, although it may have been Tim's intention all along to kill him to get this insurance money, it was actually speeded up because of a robbery that took place at Robbie Montgomery's home. And so in one article, it says that a burglary involving cash and jewelry worth at least $220,000 that rocked the famous family in the months leading up to what prosecutors say was a plot to kill a 21-year-old member of the family. The burglary was reported the evening of June 7th, 2015 at the North St. Louis County home of Robbie Montgomery. On the night of the burglary, Miss Robbie called police when she returned home from a vacation to discover her house had been ransacked. Her life savings and retirement funds she kept in cash in a drawer and safes were gone. The police documents reveal officers initially suspected Andre Montgomery in the burglary, and after a few months out of town, he agreed to return to St. Louis to speak with police and take a polygraph test on March 10th, 2016. That day, Andre denied being involved in the theft and later told police he thought the uncle, Tim Norman, was behind it. St. Louis County Police never closed the burglary case, but 4 days after Andre was questioned, the 21-year-old was shot and killed near Fairground Park. And then, as we know, Tim has been arrested in that murder. So 89, the Liberty policy ultimately did not issue. Conspirators' attempts to collect on the Foresters' life insurance policy. 90, on March 18, 2016, following the murder of Andre Montgomery on March 14, 2016, Wael Rebe Yagman placed 2 telephone calls to Foresters seeking to file a claim on the life insurance policy Tim owned on Andre Montgomery. 91, on March 21st, 2016, Tim contacted Foresters twice by telephone seeking to file a claim on the life insurance policy he had taken out on Andre. 92, on March 30th, 2016, Yagnan placed a call to Foresters lasting 10 minutes and 2 seconds. Now, y'all know if they calling these insurance companies that these phone calls are being recorded, right? So whatever they're saying to get this money, the FBI got a copy of that recording, right? So on May 21st, 2016, Tim submitted to Foresters via U.S. mail a written claim on his life insurance policy on Andre. 94, on July 6, 2016, Tim received a letter via U.S. mail from Foresters indicating that Foresters still had not received the finalized police toxicology and coroner's reports necessary in order to process the claim on the life insurance policy. 95, between August of 2016 and November of 2016, Tim repeatedly contacted Foresters in connection with his attempt to claim the life insurance policy. At some point, you got to know when to hold and know when to fold. And the fact that they were not paying out this policy should have been an indication to Tim that something was going on, that these people were on to the fact that this was a fake policy or an illegal policy or taken out illegitimately. Like, he should have just left it alone. And probably I would have left it alone after the second attempt and they were giving me the runaround. So 96, in or about September of 2018, Tim retained an attorney to represent him in connection with the attempt to claim the life insurance policy. That attorney subsequently sent a letter to Foresters indicating that Tim had authorized the attorney to file a lawsuit for failure to promptly pay the life insurance claim. Like, how arrogant are you to try and sue somebody on a fraudulent insurance policy? 97. September 26, 2019, Forrester sent Tim a letter via U.S. mail advising Tim that as of the date of the letter, Forrester still had not received all of the documentation required to adjudicate his claim on the life insurance policy, all in violation of Title 18 United States Code Section 1349. Count 4, aggravated identity theft, 18 U.S.C. 1028A, on or about October 14, 2014, in the Eastern District of Missouri, the defendant, Wael Rabbi Yagman, did knowingly transfer, possess, and use without lawful authority a means of identification of another person, to wit, Social Security number ending in 8196, lawfully issued to Andre Montgomery during and in relation to a felony violation enumerated in 18 U.S.C. 1028A-C, to wit, conspiracy to commit wire and mail fraud in violation of 18 U.S.C. 1349, knowing that the means of identification belong to another actual person, all in violation of Title 18 United States Code Section 1028A-1, Count 5, aggravated identity theft, 18 U.S.C. 1028A, on or about October 31st, 2014, in the Eastern District of Missouri, the defendant, Wael Rabbi Yagnan, did knowingly transfer, possess, and use without lawful authority means of identification of another person, to wit, Andre Montgomery's date of birth and Social Security number, doing and in relation to a felony violation enumerated in 18 U.S.C. 1028A-C, to wit, conspiracy to commit wire and mail fraud in violation of 18 U.S.C. 1349, knowing that the means of identification belong to another actual person, all in violation of Title 18 United States Code Section 1028A. On count 6, aggravated identity theft, 18 U.S.C. 1028A, on or about March 16, 2015, in the Eastern District of Missouri, the defendant, Wael Rabbi Yagnan, did knowingly transfer it, and it basically repeats all the information and the violation. And then count 7 is pertaining to the same information, but basically he has a count for each one of the insurance companies that they contacted. Count 8 on September 24th, 2015, the same thing. And then forfeiture allegation, the grand jury further finds by probable cause that 1, pursuant to Title 18 United States Code Section 981A1C and Title 28 United States Code 2461, upon conviction of an offense in violation of Title 18 United States Code Sections 1349 or 1958 as set forth in counts 1 through 3, the defendants shall forfeit to the United States of America any property, real or personal, constituting or derived from any proceeds traceable to said violations. 2, subject to forfeiture is a sum of money equal to the total value of any property, real or personal, constituting or derived from any proceeds traceable to offenses charged in counts 1 through 3. 3, specific property subject to forfeiture includes, but is not limited to, the following: A, check number 000601472, made payable to James T. Norman, issued by Forrester's Financial to James T. Norman in the amount of $4,476.49, with reference number 0691715CO, which I'm assuming they refunded him his premium. amounts that he had paid on the policy for if any other property described above as a result of any action or omission of the defendants, A, cannot be located upon the exercise of due diligence, B, has been transferred or sold to or deposited with a third party, C, has been placed beyond the jurisdiction of the court, D, has been substantially diminished in value, or E, has been commingled with the property which cannot be divided without difficulty. The United States of America will be entitled to the forfeiture of substitute property pursuant to Title 21 United States Code Section 853, a true bill, for person Jeffrey B. Jensen, United States Attorney, Angie E. Daniels or Dennis, Gwendolyn E. Carolyn, Assistant United States Attorneys. So guys, that is the latest superseding indictment on this case, naming the four of them, Tim, Terica, Travell, and Wael, in the death of Andre. And, you know, as mentioned before, and as somebody has stated in the comments, everybody got paid but Tim, and now they're all about to pay with their life, whether it's through life in prison. Well, not Yael, because he probably lost his license to sell insurance forever and now on, and he's not facing that much jail time, but, you know, could be facing a financial penalty of $250,000. But them other three, was it worth it? Like, it's never worth it when you take another person's life, and Tim should really, really be ashamed of himself. And so what do you guys think? Do you think that Travell was the shooter, or do you think, well, we know they was all stupid, like they was making a whole bunch of stupid mistakes in this, but do you think that he was the shooter, or is there somebody else involved? I'm thinking that he was either the shooter, or his brother, who he called in jail, told him who to contact to be the shooter, who he could find out on the streets that could get the job done for him. Let me know what you guys think. Leave your comments below, rate the video, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. And until the next time, I shall talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.